That does it. So, yeah, we were just talking about Unit 3, Learning Outcome 3, understanding physical and psychological changes of aging. So we came till here. So a bit about the terminology. So what are the psychological changes of aging? We all know that aging has with itself associated a lot of uh, uh, problems where there's a lot of dependence on others. So most older people, they report good mental health, and very few have mental health problems compared to other age groups. They have their own problems like depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, or dementia, in which 1 in 4 older adults experience these problems. The suicide rate for men over 85 is higher than that of any other age. Now, what are the reasons? Because we'll talk about these. So they have hearing loss. They've they go through changes in the eyes like cataracts, as refractive errors. There's back and neck problems that they have, osteoarthritis, for instance, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, diabetes, depression, dementia. So a bit about the hearing loss and the other problems. So there's a lot of physical and mental health problems that affect this age group a lot compared to any other age. Uh, Development does not stop at puberty, and there are adults who go through developmental stages that lead to physical and psychological and emotional changes in their lives, and they lose loved ones. They lose their independence. Their work is being affected. What they used to do earlier, they can't do it anymore. Now we're going on to explain the physical and psychological changes that are linked to aging. So let's first look at the physical changes that take place. And because of the dramatic physical developments that take place earlier, it may seem that less attention is placed on the physical development in the adult years. There are three main stages to physical development in adulthood. So there's early adulthood, middle, and late adulthood. So early adulthood takes place roughly between ages 20 to 35 years. And in early adulthood, a person can continue to add, they have increase in height, they have increase in weight, just few of them. There are hormonal changes that take place, and that goes through adolescence. Okay, so for some it happens early, for some it happens a later time. Physical development, it's least dramatic during this period, during the early adulthood. Middle adulthood, it takes place between roughly, and that's not that change, and that is different for different people as well. It doesn't apply to all. Between the ages of 35 and 65. In middle adulthood, we may start to see more noticeable changes again. And this is because we start to see and feel the physical changes in our body. And we may begin to think about our physical development once, once more. One of the most noticeable changes that we see is loss of skin elasticity. This is the physical change that we see. So people use anti-aging creams, their fine lines and wrinkles that they need to hide. The skin elasticity reduces. Any diet supplements that they want to use for losing weight. So this happens during middle adulthood. And it's also because of change in lifestyle, change in their normal routine, etc. Um, then at some time around the age of 65, there is the age of late adulthood. They will gain access to senior discounts, but the physical changes taking place in their bodies is less positive. So there's more negative changes, okay, that happened earlier, but now they're more profound during this stage. the final stage of physical change. So those wrinkles that they become, they're there. You'll be seeing them more glaring in the mirror. Age spots become more visible. Your reaction time begins to slow. Um, the fight or flight response, these become slower. There are two main physical concerns. So there's that are during adult physical development, um, and especially during late adulthood. First is the loss of bone mass. And because of this, people have a lot of problems where there are fractures that they might have to go through, and there's arthritis that is painful. There's heart diseases, all types of nutrition related diseases. So while age-related changes cannot be stopped entirely, the symptoms can be managed by proper diet, exercise, and medical care. Then there's the psychological and emotional development. So in early adulthood, there are changes that will take place and they're more noticeable than the physical ones. This is an important stage in adult emotional and psychological development. And we strive to find our place in the world during this period. The important life decisions that are made about career and living arrangements. And as they find their way in the world and gain their independence, their independent choices and results, and the emotional consequences that they can have a profound impact on them. One of the largest aspects of this period of development is the importance that is placed on relationship formation in early adulthood. Developing their own intimate relationships, it can be challenging, and they have to learn and to understand their new independent identities. Marriage, in order to for these relationships to thrive. Marriage, there's family formation. It happens mostly in early adulthood. Again, it varies for everyone. There's emotional and psychological well-being that is often tied to how successful they are at forming these relationships. As example about the emotional and psychological state of there are three scenarios that we will focus on. So Bob is 27 years old and focused on development of his career. He is highly successful at his job and he's got few close friends. And however, um, he has less time for romantic relationships. Whereas Shirley is 33 years old. She has two young children. She's married. Her colleague, the sweetheart, is there. But unfortunately, they are unable to make the marriage work. She still has a friendly relationship with her ex-husband, who is supportive of his children. Then there's Joey, who is 30 years old and married to his childhood high school sweetheart. And they have one 11-year-old son, and he began working just after high school to support his family. Joey now spends his evenings attending community college. So, what do you think about these three examples? What do you reckon? Who's going to have the least or the most emotional and psychological consequences based on these examples?
Hi everyone.
Um,
I think it's
yeah,
Joe. Hello.
yeah, I did not join in early, but I think the
Okay.
last person will have the least
Okay.
psychological consequences.
Okay. Why do you say that?
From what I heard you reading, so I can't
Okay.
read from the screen, but
Uh-huh.
she was able to join in with a partner, have a
Mm-hmm.
child, and now it's enjoying education. So it's like she hasn't got any burden on her, no
Mm-hmm.
negativity. So she will have the least impact of
Mm-hmm.
psychological trauma or troubles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fine. Anyone else? And who's going to have the highest problems in terms of psychological impacts? I think it's Bob and Shirley who would have. Okay, so finally, then we enter the late adulthood, which comes with its own uh, set of emotional and psychological strains. So, late adulthood will involve a mixture of gains and losses. On one hand, there's freedom of retirement, there's grown children and fewer responsibilities. On other hand, there's concern about physical health and realization of one's mortality as well. So those thoughts don't leave a person. And then there's potential sources of social isolation also. Late adulthood, a person is at greater risk to become depressed and lonely. Most likely, this is due to the sense of loss of the activities and people who give uh, their life this a meaning to their lives. However, those who maintain family bonds, relationships, and stay active in their community, they're most likely to have positive emotional and psychological well-being during late adulthood. So it depends. Now we explain the lifestyle choices associated with aging. Do you know what aging will likely cause? That aging will likely cause wrinkles and gray hair, but you know that how aging will affect your teeth, your heart, and your sexuality. So aging doesn't have only an impact on your wrinkles, it also has an impact on all other aspects of your body systems. So everything will go sluggish, everything will go slower. The heart rate at rest will stay about the same, but it won't increase during activities, which it does increase. You're more prone to the risk of developing high blood pressure, hypertension, and other cardiovascular problems. And this is because your blood vessels, uh, they become less elastic as well. Your heart muscles also, uh, they change. Your heart has to work harder to pump against that resistance because your blood vessels become more stiff and yeah. So what about your bones and joints and muscles? So with age, the bones, they tend to shrink and rise density weakening. They're more prone to fractures, might even become a bit shorter. Muscles lose their strength, endurance, and flexibility. Factors that can affect your coordination. So you lose your dexterity. So things that you who used to grasp with your hand, now you lose that. Um, your digestive system so that also slows down. Um, and there's lack of exercise, not drinking enough fluids, and a low fiber diet can also contribute. Medications like diuretics for your kidneys and iron supplements can also impact your health and your digestive system. Certain other medications like diabetes may may contribute to constipation as well. Your bladder and your urinary tract. So your pelvic floor muscles, your bladder muscles, they become weakened. You have urinary incontinence. That means that you lose bladder control. You'll stand up and you'll want the toilet every time. In men, there is an enlarged or inflamed prostate that has a problem of its own. There's difficulty emptying the bladder. Other factors that contribute to incontinence they include overweight, nerve damages from diabetes, certain other medications. Caffeine or alcohol consumption can also lead to becoming overweight, having these bladder or urinary tract problems. Your memory and your thinking skills goes down. It becomes difficult to memorize things. That is why dementia comes in. We've talked about wrinkles. Your skin loses elasticity. Your weight, you lessen your burning of your calories as you age. So you decrease your activities. Obviously, you don't want fractures. You don't feel comfortable going out with those wrinkles and that appearance. For some people, it's a normal aging process that doesn't hamper them. So it becomes hard for them to be physically active. Now we go on. I think this is the last point that we're going to discuss today, a very short lecture. Discuss the effect of physical change that physical changes associated with aging have on self-esteem and self-confidence. So obviously you're losing your youth time. Your skin changes, your self-confidence decreases, the jobs that you were doing, those are changing. You're less mobile, you're more dependent on others, your hearing loss gets into play. You when How do you find out if there's someone with hearing loss? They'll ask you to, like, when I'm talking louder, I'm talking louder than I should be talking. So probably I'm going through aging as well, where I have certain age hearing loss, and I feel that the other person needs to hear me clearer, so I have to talk louder, but this is because of hearing loss. And this can make you feel very upset and frustrated because people can't listen to you. You can't indulge into a conversation. It becomes hard for others also. So a bit about evaluation of the influence of lifestyle choices that you have on having on aging. So what is aging? Advancing in age and years. It's not the same thing. Advancing in years is what happens in regards to the calendar, whereas aging is the physical changes that happen and the changes that happen within your body. We can't have control over the calendar time, but we have control over our aging process. So there are 5 stages of aging process. There's independence. So while aging, the individual is capable of handling daily life, including finances, transportation, everyday tasks such as meal preparation and managing medications. Interdependence. So daily tasks are more difficult and assistance is needed for meal preparation, transportation, managing medications, etc. Dependency is when daily tasks are not manageable and assistance is required. At this stage, the individual will need some type of monitoring for their safety and well-being. Then there's crisis management. So at this stage, almost constant monitoring is required, and as well as having quick access to medical care. And end of life is obviously, as its name suggests. So there's independence, interdependence, dependency, crisis management, and end of life. There are 3 types of aging. So there's biological, there's psychological, and social aging. Okay. Lifestyle changes. What should you do? Food and food supplements, very important. Regular exercise, lifestyle choices include eating a balanced diet, exercising regularly, avoiding the use of tobacco, caffeine, intentional socialization, staying mentally sharp, moderate alcohol consumption or not at all, establishing healthy eating habits. These are the references for the session today. Just before you leave, I'll just quickly take your attendance. Any questions for me? Thank you for your time. I'll just stop the recording if that's okay. Any questions? Doesn't stop the recording. Does anyone have any questions for me? I'm stopping sharing here and then probably I'll stop the recording. So any questions?